Caffeine.
Oh, look at your morning routine.
Yes, it's in just about everything we do. Most of us do a lot of caffeine to get going in the morning.
Wow.
But it is a stimulant, and it can have very tragic results.
It really can. You've got to use it properly if you use it at all. An Ohio teenager actually died from an overdose of caffeine powder. Henry Spiller is here with us this morning. He is with the Poison Control Center at Nationwide Children's Hospital, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. First of all, Henry, let's start with what is caffeine itself?
Caffeine is a xanthine. It's a naturally occurring alkaloid. It's in lots of plants. We know it well from coffee, but it's in tea. It's in a wide variety.
Chocolates and
yeah. Actually, that's theobromine, but
all right.
Regardless, that's a very close neighbor. Okay. But it's a naturally occurring alkaloid, and honestly, we've all been using it for centuries.
On its own,
in low dose. As you brew a cup of coffee or brew a cup of tea,
right.
or there's a number of other plants where it exists in where you just take small doses. I drink coffee in the morning to get going.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, let's talk about what's here, because we have 25 cups of coffee here, and I mean, nobody would hopefully nobody would actually sit down and drink all that. But what are we talking caffeine-wise in that kind of serving, enormous serving?
In those small cups, there might be, say, 25 milligrams, 10 of those 250. We're talking about 500 milligrams maybe, at most, and that's if that were brewed very strong.
All right, so let's keep 500 in mind.
Now we switch over to what is now this
if
tragic
if you were to just have as little as a teaspoon and level it. And that's if you got this small amount. Could I just spill this? Or that's
sure, yeah, throw it
show
right there.
us what we have here.
We just do that. You already have 500 cups of coffee.
Right, and with this little...
Yes.
Really? So this is...
And that's where we're...
I want to move this so people can see. We can get a good shot of that, but...
That's why we have the problem. It's not that we have a problem with caffeine. Frankly, who doesn't enjoy a 7-Up, not a 7-Up, say
a cola.
Like Coca-Cola, coffee, tea, any of these, or the 1 hour energy, all of these we're not, but this, to equal that, you have to almost take tweezers and take a pinch.
And that would be just a normal serving.
Right.
So when did this come on the market? Why are kids getting their hands on this? What is this?
Well, caffeine has a couple of properties. One, in low doses, by the way, low doses, it can increase athletic performance slightly. So some people,
and it's a short. Gets you pumped up?
It's called a beta agonist. It stimulates your sort of fight or flight response.
Okay. Right.
It has certain direct stimulant properties, and it helps athletic performance. Small amount. I mean, it's not going to make you Superman, but they're like, okay, just before my workout, that sort of thing.
Okay.
It also, some people use it to stay awake. If they're going out on Friday night, they might take a Red Bull to stay awake during the party. A number of these sort of things. So these are all benign in low doses.
But these powders have come out now, and we've had overdoses on these things, and it doesn't take much at all. And people they'd be surprised at how little it takes.
If you think you're going to add that amount to, say, I don't know, your
fruit juice
or whatever power shake that you're going to have just before you work out or something like that, it's frightening. And we've had a fatality. We've had renal failure or kidney failure.
Wow.
We've had 3 hospitalizations, 1 fatality, all in roughly the last month.
Well, where do they get it? Where are these kids getting their hands on this?
The powder form you can buy on the internet.
Really?
Wow.
And that's really the issue, is that we don't, they're not aware of what they're getting.
Right.
Because of the dose. They're perhaps previously used caffeine from energy shots, or you can get it in pill form, or you can drink coffee, and it's been fine. It almost self-regulates. By the time you're on your 10th cup of coffee, you're a little jittery. You're like, that's enough coffee. And you almost stop. The side effects kind of stop you. If you put this in, you've already got that massive dose before the side effect, and then you're already in overdose situation. Not intending to. I mean, you're not.
Well, I mean, you look at some of this, and we think of like protein powders, and and that's a big scoop. And if somebody were to use it like that, I mean, they'd be done in a heartbeat.
And we have had one that's done that.
Can we let's talk
Yes.
about some symptoms. So what would you know, how would you feel if you thought that you might be going into the serious stages of too much caffeine?
It's progressive. You know,
Okay.
it's dose related. As you take more, you increasingly get sicker until it's, but basically it affects two main systems.
So you've got trouble breathing.
Some vomiting, chest pain.
You'll see nausea and vomiting. The chest pain, there's cardiac, so you're going to see chest pain, tachycardia. What you'll see is agitation, feel very nervous. You'll get progressively, you can see seizures. When the seizures occur, then there could be coma. The cardiovascular effects, you start to see initial increase in heart rate, but then you start to see what we call arrhythmias, and your blood pressure drops. So as you get these really large doses, you get symptoms you're not used to seeing with, say, a cup of coffee.
Right.
What can we do real quick? We're running out of time. Real quick, what can we do? So we call 911, we get to the hospital.
They do need to, because if they take this large dose, caffeine has a relatively long half-life. It's not going to be over in 5 minutes. We can save you. We can do this.
Okay.
But if you take a large dose, you do need to get to the hospital, absolutely.
And get this out of the hands of kids.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Educate,
Yeah.
all that.
Henry, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
very
Sure,
much.
thank you.
Kind of scary
Nice to
stuff.
see
Thank you.
Thank you.
Scary stuff.